And they're looking at you.
And don't move quickly. I got to get to my gate. Don't move too quickly.
Don't run.
Don't run,
Yeah.
especially if you're running in their direction.
Or running away. That might be even worse. I don't know.
I mean, I have seen a few interesting things where it's like if you're running in the wrong direction and someone makes a scream of something, they're watching you run as a scream took place.
Yes.
It had nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
And everyone's trigger finger is at the ready.
Yeah, the safeties are clicking off.
Exactly.
And,
I've seen that happen to where it's like, damn, like, let me move over here. Let's see, where is the ballistic table?
Right.
What's that, duck and cover?
Yep.
And so it's very interesting when you travel overseas. Most people don't understand how, as much as we think TSA and all these things are impediments, overseas it's a whole different scenario.
Especially if you're in third world countries, it is very intimidating.
And that's the point. They don't have people like yourself, the legal system, the lawyers, all that stuff. It's all done in the moment of time.
Yes.
And it's like, that's what happened.
Yeah.
And, you can't just go out and try to investigate because there's nothing to investigate.
Right.
There is no judiciary if it ever gets to one.
Right.
Is there anything that we missed in our conversation? We're pretty much done with all of the cool things, and there might be something that I've missed.
Well, I would like to, a minute ago, you asked me about people that I've stayed in touch with over the years, and I would like to tell this one story for Dennis Wilfong and Pam Wilfong. They've been after me for years to record it.
Oh, okay.
And so I'd like to tell
We're
it.
Recording the story.
In 1991, soon after I'd started representing their company, they received a letter from the Minister of Oil for Nigeria. Now, this was before the big Nigeria scam thing became known.
It was actually the minister this time.
It was.
This was the actual minister.
Actual minister, and it was for a huge multi-million-dollar transaction, and they wanted me to go over there and check it out and see, how far I could get with the contract and so forth. And I said,
actually confirm the check.
Confirm it, yeah. And so I said, so I checked with the U.S. Department of Commerce. I flew up to Washington, met with them, and showed them the letter and told them of the phone discussions that took place before my involvement. And they said, yes, this is legitimate. This is a great deal for our country. This is a good chance for us to export rather than import, and we encourage you to pursue it. Went to our congressman, who at that time was Cliff Stearns, and they said, yeah, this guy's the oil minister. I don't see anything wrong with it. So I said, okay, I'll go. And so I flew over there with the president of the company, whose name was Dean Beagle. He's passed away now, unfortunately. He's a great man. But we studied those customs and culture, and it was customary to bring gifts for people and so forth. So he bought a lot of nice watches, not Rolexes or anything, but nice watches to give out as gifts. And we had reservations at the Sheraton in Lagos, Nigeria. We flew into Nigeria, and the first thing that happened is we were met at the plane by someone said they were from the Ministry of Oil.
Were they armed?
They weren't armed, but there were lots of armed people around, lots of the machine guns around. And I said, well, I need to go exchange some money for local currency. And they said, oh, no, you won't need any money while you're here. Well, a little light went off in my brain that said, I never like to be anywhere without cash.
Exactly.
So I excused myself for the restroom, but instead went to an exchange window and got a lot more cash than I had intended to get.
That was a better clue.
Yes.
You don't need any money.
Yeah.
I need more money
I
now.
need more money. And so we said we want to go to the Sheraton, and they said, no, we've got a different hotel where we want you to put you up in. So they put us in a cab, and off we go out into the darkness. I mean, this place, you don't know how dark somewhere can be that doesn't have electricity.
They took you to a safari hotel?
Well, it was a 7-story building, but it had a wall around it with containment wire and a gate, and it was in the middle of nowhere. And so we go in.
That was another clue, right?
Yes, and they put us up on the 7th floor, and they said, we want to meet with you in half an hour. So first thing I did was start hiding money all over the place in different, shoes and cubby holes in my suitcase and all that sort of thing. Hid my passport, plane ticket. And so the meeting was going to be in Dean's room. And I told him, I said, if you get the feeling that something's wrong,
we're done.
We
don't even know where you are.
Yeah. Well, if you get the feeling...
You could run where?
You couldn't. Well, I said, if you get the feeling something's wrong, use my full name, Thomas S. Hogan Jr. So when I got down to his room, these folks were already there, and they were in the room, and he was handing out watches, and he said, oh, come in, Thomas S. Hogan Jr. So right off the bat, something was wrong, and Dean was a smoker, and he was lighting one cigarette after another,
chaining,
and they were like blowtorches. He was just sucking them down,
one puff,
one drag, and it was done. And so these guys said, we want the first thing you have to do is give us $35,000.
Was that all?
I was like, yeah, is that all? And this transaction is going to take, when is your return flight? With 3 days. So, this is going to take longer than 3 days. So give us your plane tickets and your passports, and we'll go get you a plane ticket out for in a week, 10 days or something. And so I said, look, wait a minute. I said, we don't have cash. Americans don't carry cash. You should know that. It's all credit card. I said, but I can get you cash.
At the airport, right?
From Western.
Right in front of my flight.
Should have thought of that. I can get it from you from Western Union in the. But I won't do it if you take our plane tickets and our passports. I won't cooperate. And so they had a little huddle, and they decided, okay, we'll be back in the morning to take you to Western Union. So they left, and so I said to Dean, I said, I'm going to go downstairs and see if they left anybody here to watch us. So I go downstairs, with my blazer on and my khaki pants, and I go in, and sure enough, there's one of the guys down there between me and the exit, sitting in front of the front desk. So I turned.
They didn't have an Uber line outside?
No. But there was a line of cabs out front, which I noticed. And I turned and went into the bar, and of course now there's this tall, pale, white Irish guy in the bar in khaki pants and a blue blazer ordering a 7-Up. So
that's strong.
Yeah. So I went back up to the room, and I said, Dean, I said, we have to get out of here. I got all my stuff in my room. I had just a carry-on bag.
Traveling
light. And I said, we got to go. We got to get out of here because this isn't going to turn out well. I just have a feeling. And he said, okay, do you think we can? I said, yeah, if we go down the fire escape. And of course he said, do you think we can outrun them? I said, I don't know, but I know I can outrun you because you're a chain smoker. And so we went down, and we got in quietly down that fire escape, and we got into the last cab in line quietly.
And
I gave him a bunch of money. And so he started driving out. They opened the gate, and we got out. And so we were just, on pins and needles. We told him we wanted to go to Lagos to the Sheraton. We get stopped by a Jeep full of military guys with Uzis. And we couldn't understand what they were saying. We couldn't understand the cab driver, but they kept taking the guns and poking us, and then wanting to look in the briefcases and the luggage, and so we're showing them everything. And finally, I started handing out cash.
Exactly.
And they let us go. And we got to the Sheraton, and I said, I'm going to the airport and see when we can get out. And we couldn't get out until the next morning on a Swiss Air flight to Germany. Anywhere, yes, but to Frankfurt, Germany. It was a big rigmarole. They said, we have to have a photocopy of the front page of your passport. I said, okay, but I'm going with my passport to the copy machine.
Yeah, you ain't taking this thing.
Yeah, no. And they said, well, we don't have a copy machine. And I said, well, where is the They said, the nearest one's at a music store down the street. I mean, it's things like that.
Yes.
So I finally I went back, got Dean. We go down in the morning, and we're heading out, try to get on the plane. And they had a row of desks set up down this hallway that you had to stop at every desk to get out. Every desk wanted a fee for something.
Yeah, it's a fee.
And
it's like, let's not go into that.
Let's not go into it, but it was definitely graft, corruption. As much cash as I had taken, I ran out.
Wow.
And I had three desks to go. So I gave away this guy a polo shirt. I gave this next guy a belt. The last guy I gave a pair of pants or something to. I don't know.
You walked on the plane on your boxers?
Yeah, no, not in the pants I was wearing, but I would have given them up to get out of there.
If the last desk was like, all right, just take the suit.
To take it.
The size? What size is it?
But I got to the steps of the plane, and I looked back, and the two of these guys that we'd met with were holding Dean. And so I walked a little ways back towards them, and I said, look, I can identify you guys, and so if you don't let him go, I'm going to get on that plane, and I'm going to be telling Interpol, what's happening. So they let him go. And so now we're flying to Germany, and I'm thinking, did I overreact? Did I?
Yeah, like the minister is like, what happened?
Yeah, we have a suitcase full of money for you.
It's like,
and I get to.
That wasn't on the agenda. You should have told us beforehand.
Yeah, that's common, but anyway, we got home, and the planes changed so quickly we didn't have time to call anybody. We got to the airport in Orlando, and I had made a quick call that we would be in Orlando at a certain time. Please pick us up. We flew all night, Frankfurt, back to Orlando, and when we got there, everybody was crying and hugging us and all, because after we left, they had gotten a phone call from Cliff Stearns saying, don't let them go, because we just found out that there's this big scam where they kidnapped the businessmen. There's been several businessmen that have never come back. Their passports are used by drug dealers, and they're never seen again.